I'm David Benoit, and I'm the Director of Licensed Lay Ministry Education. The module this time deals with the second lesson, Doctrine of the Church. There are 9 questions, and they deal with what the Episcopal Church is all about and helps us understand why we do what we do. I would say that please read and reread the question before you provide an answer or response.
It has been said that the stories which were of greatest interest to the people of biblical times were 2 in number. First, the account of the deliverance of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, and second, the story of the resurrection of the crucified Jesus. Why is this? Well, because the Exodus and the resurrection narratives are foundation stories. Each of them tells events which began a relationship with God. What is your interpretation of the relationship between the people and God as told in these stories?
Now, what this is all about is it asks you to give your understanding of the 2 stories that were told during the biblical times. And also for your interpretation of the relationship between the people and God. It's your understanding. Not someone else's, not what the book says, not what the internet says, but it's important for the understanding for you.
In the creeds, God is named as our Creator, Redeemer, and Sanctifier. What does the Catechism have to say about the relationship of God in these dimensions to human beings?
So it's asking, what does the Catechism tell you about God as Creator, Redeemer, and Sanctifier? The Catechism begins on page 845, the Book of Common Prayer, and that's all you need to know.
The classical heresies assisted in the development of the doctrine of the Trinity. These include monarchianism and subordinationism. Research one of these heresies and discuss whether and how it helps you understand the doctrine of the Trinity.
There are many other heresies, and of the ones that have been chosen to look at are probably the 2 most important, to us anyway. Use the references that are given to find your understanding. I would advise you not to do much internet research on them because you'll get buried with extraneous stuff.
What is the meaning of resurrection? How does the Catechism state it?
Catechism begins on page 845 of the Book of Common Prayer, and what I'm looking for is your understanding of what you're reading and what you have learned.
What is the Chalcedonic definition of faith? What problem does it attempt to solve? What does the Catechism state about it?
The Catechism is very certain a good way to understand the Chalcedonic definition of faith. And the question asks for your understanding of it. And I think that's one of the more important things about who we are, is your understanding.
Some think that religious faith can be a private or individual matter. What are your thoughts? Is it private or corporate?
The question asks for your thoughts on private or corporate worship. In the Episcopal faith, we rely on corporate worship and private worship. So what do you think about each one of those, really? Which one is more important to you, and why?
The New Testament describes the church as the ecclesia of God, 1 Corinthians 1, verse 2. How does this differ from other assemblies?
Once again, it's looking for an understanding of what the ecclesia of God is. 1 Corinthians 1 and 2 give what it is, but how do you understand what it is? Are there differences? You would have to do some research and find out what the differences are and why you think they're right.
The creeds describe the Church as one holy, Catholic, and apostolic. What do each of these terms mean? Why does the Church need to be so considered?
Both of those questions need to be answered. It's pretty evident why it's one holy, Catholic, and apostolic church, but it becomes an understanding of why we say it in the creed. So you need to understand what each of those terms really mean.
Review the catechism found in the Book of Common Prayer. What, in your view, are the most essential activities of the Church assembled? Which sections of the catechism deal with these activities?
All through the catechism, there is stated essential and an essential activity. And why do we assemble? Why do we come together? That's what it's asking. And where in the catechism, the outline of faith, are they found? It's going to require looking into the catechism. Page 854. There is a lot of history in the Book of Common Prayer. History or doctrine. History of doctrine. There's a lot in there. And I think it was significant for someone to put it in the Book of Common Prayer so that everyone would be knowledgeable of what we are. And I just think it's worth looking at and worth knowing. And again, it answers the question why we do what we do.